Okay, so if you have a flight planned anytime in 2026, you already know what's going on. The headlines are everywhere. Airport security has pretty much become a nightmare of crazy long lines, brand new fees, and just a whole lot of stress. But hey, don't go canceling that trip just yet. We're going to break down exactly what's happening and give you a clear step-by-step guide to get through it all smoothly.
Let's just start with one number that tells you everything you need to know. 4,300%. That's the spike in downloads for a single government app in just 1 week. I mean, what on earth could cause that level of widespread panic?
But here's the question that really matters. What does this insane app surge and the chaos behind it actually mean for your next flight? Well, it means that the old days of just showing up and hoping for the best are over. That's a recipe for disaster now. You have to understand these new rules if you want to avoid getting stuck in a 2-hour line or, worse, getting hit with a fee you never even knew existed.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the crisis itself. Then, we'll pinpoint the 2 main problems causing it all. After that, we'll cover the digital tools you're going to need, walk through a step-by-step guide, and then wrap up with a quick pre-flight checklist to make sure you're good to go.
All right, let's dive into part 1. Before we can talk about solutions, we need to get a really clear picture of the problem. What is this airport crisis that has everyone so on edge?
What it feels like on the ground is just a perfect storm of frustration. We're talking about security lines that are completely unpredictable, sometimes stretching for 2 hours or more. On top of that, you've got these new fees popping up right at the checkpoint and this general feeling of uncertainty that is making everyone with a boarding pass, well, super anxious. So how do we get out in front of this? It all starts with knowing what we're actually dealing with. And it turns out this isn't just one single problem. It's really 2 major issues colliding at the exact same time.
And here they are. On one side, you've got a partial DHS shutdown. Now, DHS is the Department of Homeland Security. They're the ones in charge of the TSA. So when they have a shutdown, that means fewer TSA agents at the checkpoints, which, you guessed it, means longer, slower lines for all of us. At the exact same time, the government has finally decided to get super strict about the Real ID Act, and they're now hitting people with fines. It's a real 1-2 punch of a staffing crisis meeting a paperwork crisis.
And that fine has a name, the Confirm ID fee. It's pretty simple. You show up at the security line without a real ID or some other valid ID like a passport, and you're going to get hit with a $45 non-refundable fee for them to do extra checks. And here's the kicker. This fee just started in February 2026, which is exactly why it's catching so many people totally by surprise.
And it's really important to realize this didn't just happen overnight. This has been years in the making. The Real ID Act was actually passed way back in 2005. Then, after tons of delays, real enforcement finally started in May of 2025. The new fee came along in February 2026, and just 1 month later, boom, the DHS shutdown happened, creating the perfect storm we're all dealing with today.
Okay, so that's the problem. How in the world do we solve it? Well, let's start with the digital tool that millions of travelers are turning to in a panic.
This is the My TSA app, the reason for that 4,300% download spike. Now, in theory, it gives you live wait times for security checkpoints. But here's the reality check you absolutely need. Because of the shutdown, the app itself is having issues. The live data can be really laggy. So here's the pro tip. For now, ignore the live times. The real value is in the historical data. Use it to find patterns. Is Terminal C always a madhouse on a Monday morning? That's the kind of information that'll help you build a travel plan you can actually rely on.
All right, now let's put it all together. This is your clear, no-nonsense, step-by-step guide to actually navigating the airport and keeping your sanity.
It really boils down to 4 simple steps. 1. Before you even pack a sock, check your ID. Does it have that little star on it? If not, make sure you know where your passport is. 2. Download the official My TSA app. 3. Use that app to check the historical wait times and plan your arrival accordingly. And 4. Know the status of any of those expedited screening programs you're signed up for.
And yeah, that last point is causing a ton of confusion, so let's just clear it up right now. During this shutdown, TSA PreCheck is still working. That is a huge sigh of relief for a lot of people. However, global entry services are completely paused. Knowing that difference can save you from waiting in the wrong and much longer line.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. So let's boil it all down into one simple, final checklist you can mentally run through before you leave the house. Just ask yourself these 5 questions. 1.
Is my driver's license a real ID, or do I have my passport ready? 2. Is the My TSA app installed on my phone? 3. Have I actually checked the wait time data? 4, and this one is so important, have I budgeted at least 2 extra hours for security no matter what? And 5, am I mentally and financially prepared for that fee just in case something goes wrong? If you can say yes to all 5, you're in great shape.
And I want to leave you with this final thought from a policy scholar, Dr. Aveline. That crazy 4,000+% surge in app downloads, it's not just about technology. She calls it a direct behavioral response to systemic procedural anxiety. Basically, what that means is people are desperately looking for some sense of control when the system itself feels broken. By following these steps, you're doing more than just getting ready for a flight. You're trading that anxiety for a solid plan. So travel smart, stay prepared, and take back control of your trip.